So I've been living in my van now for the past 2 months in England, and I've seen some really beautiful views. And I just thought I'd share with you all the beautiful views. Like actually this one that I'm currently looking at. That is a beautiful view though. Friendly. So this is me, Josie, looking rather glamorous for you, if I do say so myself. I'd call this style eclectic, pyjama-esque / couldn't be bothered and it's cold outside, which, to be honest, is probably what I look like most of the time. And this is Winnie. So Winnie's a Labradoodle and she's 5 years old, and I kind of think of her a bit more like a sister because she's actually the family dog and I share with my mum. So thanks, Mum, for letting me borrow Winnie, because otherwise I'd be pretty scared on my own. And I have just left my dream job and changed my whole career. More about that later. And me and Winnie have just moved into this cottagecore bus called Beau, which I actually spent the past 3 years building. And I like to think of it as my cottage on wheels. I have this grand plan to drive around the whole world in this thing. But while I'm kind of finding my feet with it all and testing out the waters, I thought I'd better stick a little bit closer to home. So this is van life in the UK. Well, from my perspective anyway. Gosh, you can tell I'm in England, can't you? Look at this weather here. This is supposed to be summer, by the way. And here we have blustering winds and it's raining and cold and yeah. Welcome to England. Okay, so I can already tell that this video is going to be a bit of a chopping and changing, backwards and forwards situation, because what's going on right now is I want to make this video about the beginning and start of my van life, right? But today's date is, sorry, just looking at my laptop, Tuesday, the 13th of August, 2024. And basically, if we go back to the beginning of when I moved in, we're going to have to rewind back to May the 4th, 2024, which is AKA moving in day, or for those of us who spend far too long on the internet, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Oh, no, doesn't like that. Okay. So let's do this. Let's hit rewind. Back to May the 4th, 2024. This was the day that I was supposed to become the cool, independent, road-tripping van life girl of my dreams. But first, I had to say goodbye to something far scarier. My childhood bedroom. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to pack up 20 plus years of memories, but let me tell you, it's bloody hard. Turns out I'm what some might call a sentimental hoarder. I mean, do I really need to keep every single costume from all of the dance shows that I did growing up? Probably not. But did I? Actually, no, I was so good. I did manage to get rid of a lot of stuff. However, of course, I had to throw out a few solo dance breaks because apparently that's how I cope with getting rid of everything. So there I was, spinning around in my room for one last hurrah before reality kicked in. I mean, how do you say goodbye to your mum, your home, and every bad fashion decision you've ever made all at once? I didn't film much of it because, well, no one wants to see a teary-eyed girl awkwardly cramming her whole life into a van. But just like that, I was off, ready or not. And thus began my grand adventure. Where are we off to? I've decided for the first month of my van life to go up the east coast of the country. This side of the UK is probably the lesser travelled. It's where the coastline meets the chilly wild North Sea. And the first stop on the agenda is Yorkshire, the land of tea and Yorkshire puddings. So here I am, wild camping for the first time. And by wild, I mean I'm literally just parked off of the A1. And for those of you who don't know, the A1 is this road that runs all the way from London in the south to Scotland in the north, up the east. It's surprisingly peaceful here considering. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of van life, the do's and don'ts of van life in the UK. Spoiler alert. It's complicated. In Scotland, you can pretty much park wherever you want, as long as you're being respectful. However, here in England, it's not quite so easy. It's technically not allowed. But never fear, because I have a secret weapon. It's this little app called Park for Night. It's basically the Google Maps of van life, showing you all the best spots to park that you can stay over and hopefully not get moved on. So this is me settling in for the night. Just a girl, a dog and her van. Made myself some noodles. And first night on the side of the road, not bad at all. Really wasn't scared actually. Surprising. Okay, so getting from Kent to Yorkshire in one day. And no, that did not happen. Gosh, I'm sorry if you thought my van life was going to be this fast-paced adventure for you to watch. I am sorry to disappoint.
This is going to be slow travel at its finest. My bus is basically a fuel guzzler. I mean, who knew diesel was going to be this expensive?
So yeah, basically I can't really afford to zip around the country at top speed, so slow it is.
It's my own fault. I built it. It's full of wood and heavy, whatever. And if you said you needed to get rid of all your wood and change the interior so that you can go faster and not eat so much fuel, I don't think I would do that.
So we're just gonna have to go with the slow thing.
Maybe I need to rename the bus Snail Baby. So, welcome to Yorkshire, my first real stop on this adventure. It's quiet, peaceful, and honestly feels like a breath of fresh air after the chaos of that A1 road. Winnie, as per usual, thinks she's running the show. I mean, clearly this is her bus and I'm just here for the driving part. Did you know that the Yorkshire moors, aside from looking like a postcard from some mystical forgotten world, are actually man-made? Yeah, this is like centuries of sheep grazing and controlled fires to keep them open and covered in heather. So while it may feel like you're walking through some untouched wilderness, you're basically strolling through nature's most dramatic DIY project.
Oh, and fun fact, it's also home to the merlin, which is Britain's smallest bird of prey. I definitely just looked that up so that I can sound like David Attenborough in the video.
So this is only day 2 on the road and I already feel like I've got a habit of, as soon as I park up, jumping into my pyjamas and dressing gown, because really, who am I seeing apart from me and Winnie? And I guess everybody on the internet. Anyway... A big van life goal of mine is to try and catch every sunset. I've actually loved getting out my laptop in these moments and doing a bit of work as the sun goes down. And isn't this the best office view ever? And I woke up at 4 a.m. to catch this sunrise. However, I don't think I'll be doing this every day. I do like my sleep too much. So does Winnie.
Working all hours of night and morning so that I can explore the beautiful, quaint chocolate box towns and villages of Yorkshire during the day. And these are my top chocolate box places that I think you should visit because they're so cute.
First up we have Thorntonley Dale. Picture perfect cottages, babbling brooks and more charm than your grandma's finest china. The kind of place where you half expect to see a costume drama being filmed at any moment. Huttonley Hole. Honestly, isn't there a cuter name? I think not. Gilling Castle. If Jane Austen did VanLife, she would definitely be hanging out here. Helmsley. A market town that feels like the Tiffany's of small villages. And those are my Yorkshire recommendations. From the rolling hills of the Yorkshire Dales, east to the wild North Sea, to a seaside town called Scarborough. So this parking spot right by the sea is £10 a night. Bargain, right? Let's just ignore the busy road though. Though apparently someone told me the other day that you can't actually park here anymore. Apparently the council's closed it down because some other people didn't get the van life memo, leave no trace. Such a shame, because despite the road, it's really lovely to wake up right next to the sea. I'm just so pleased I got in here while I could. And look at Winnie on this beach. Winnie loves the beach park up. I'm really gutted that I can't come back here. So a little bit of history about Scarborough. Back in the 1600s, they thought if you came to Scarborough, had a dip in the sea, you'd be cured of all kinds of things, from a broken back to a broken heart. God, I wish that was true. I would be in there like a shot. And what's a visit to an English seaside town without a pop into the arcade? Of course, I had to get my fortune told, and apparently I'm a romantic dreamer. Groundbreaking. I feel like we could have guessed that from just looking at my bus, don't you? Also, Scarborough is home to England's first seaside cliff lift. Bloody hell, that is really hard to say. Cliff lift.
Cliff lift. Cliff. It's that T. Cliff lift. Cliff lift.
Because apparently, even back then, walking up and down hill was just too much effort. And this is their classic huge Yorkshire pudding with vegan sausages, mashed potato, peas, and vegan gravy. Okay, for all my lovely non-British viewers who might not know what Yorkshire pudding is, it's not actually a pudding. It's more like a fluffy, golden cloud of batter that perfectly soaks up all the gravy. Think of it like a savoury pancake bowl. And yes, it is bloody marvellous. The fact that I found a vegan version of this dish is amazing. It's like a hug on a plate. Yum! Okay, get ready for a really beautiful park up. So this is Alwick Castle. Gosh, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. I got here super early to secure this prime view park up. How bloody gorgeous is this view? I'd love to tell you that I'm soaking it all in, being really present in the moment, but in reality, as you can tell from this reflection in the mirror, I'm actually hunched over a tripod trying to film it. YouTube life. Now, Alwick Castle isn't just any old castle, it's practically royalty when it comes to film sets. You might recognise it from the little franchise called Harry Potter. Yes, that's right, this place was Hogwarts in the first 2 films. You know that scene where Harry learns how to fly on a broomstick for the first time? Well, that is all filmed here. Oh, when he's a Harry Potter fan, clearly. No signs of broomsticks today, just me, my van, and actually a massive bunch of tourists. So me, Winnie and the bus became surrounded by people for a good half hour. Basically a coach pulled up, and because it's such an iconic view, I guess lots of tourists want to come and, take the classic photo. I get it, I'm here, I'm doing it too. And I would say I feel exposed, but lucky for me and Winnie, I have put reflective film on my windows, which means that basically you can't see in. People genuinely cannot see inside, so I can stare at people and they have no idea. It would be weird if they could see me staring at them, but they can't, and Winnie gets to monitor. It helps that I'm, on my own as a girl. You don't want everyone to know that, really, if they just look inside your bus. So yeah, I think it's great having the reflective film tint. One of the best decisions I made about this van build. Oh, I don't know about you, but that whole time I was talking, all I was doing was looking at this lipstick on my tooth. Ugh! You would have thought with all the mirrors in my bus, I would be able to spot lipstick on my tooth. Bloody hell, Jose. The town by the castle is pretty cute. It's got that classic English village vibe. The cobbled streets, the little shops selling who knows what, and about 1 million different tea shops. So if you're a fan of a cream tea, this is definitely the place for you. So, back at the bus. Winnie's chilling and I'm gonna get my laptop out and crack on with some work. I know, I keep saying I'm working, and at this point you're probably like, okay, but what do you actually do for work? What is this work that keeps following you around? And I get it. Do you know what? It's basically the most common van life question I got asked. Well, after, where'd you go to the toilet? So I just thought I'd spill the beans. And to do that, we're gonna have to take a trip down memory lane. So I grew up in a single parent household. It was just me, my mum and my little brother Jacob. My mum worked full-time as a midwife, and we lived in a village in the south of England in a council house. I have only happy memories of my childhood, and I'm so proud of my mum for bringing me and Jake up on our own. So, school. Basically, I'm dyslexic, which means that essentially me and school, we didn't exactly get along. I mean, it wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't exactly a match made in heaven either. But then, at 13, I stumbled across this whole dance thing. Yeah, kind of a bit late to the game. Usually kids are sent off to ballet at the age of 4, but that definitely was not in the budget for us. When my mum saw that I kind of had a knack for it, she encouraged me to go for it. She knew that school wasn't really my thing. So when looking for what secondary school to go to, there happened to be this one locally that specialised in the performing arts. And finally, I was actually good at something. School related. Suddenly I wasn't just getting by, I was actually succeeding. So fast forward to finishing school, when I was encouraged to audition for some very expensive dance colleges. They weren't funded by the government, so my only shot to go was to get a full scholarship. And, miracle of miracles, I actually got one. Thanks to the fact that we had a Labour government at the time, I actually got some extra help called EMA funding. So that covered my housing costs, and that plus a weekend job meant that I could actually live away from home and study dance full time. After college, I really did have an amazing run. Danced all over the world, in movies, adverts, all sorts. And I eventually ended up in the West End in a show called Magic Mike Live with a boss called Channing Tatum.
Oh, that personality.
I know usually the van life story goes, I didn't particularly like my 9 to 5, so I left it all behind to follow my dream. But for me, it's kind of a bit different. But then reality hit when I was starting to think about moving out of my mum's place.
You know anything about the housing market in England, you'll know that it's a bit of a disaster, especially for someone like me.
Self-employed, single, dancer, it was really clear that I was never going to get a mortgage. I'd saved up £10,000 during my dance career, but yeah, that wasn't even going to touch the sides of a deposit.
So this is when the van idea came in. I figured, why not just build my own home? Thanks to Instagram, I thought it'd take me 1 month. It did not. It seemed actually like the cheaper option.
I spent the next 3 years building this bus while living at home with my mum and working full-time, pouring all of my money into it.
But here's the thing. Being a dancer, it doesn't exactly scream travel friendly. Well, unless you're following a tour or something like that.
And having already spent quite a few years in the industry, I kind of was ready for a change. So I left my dream job and career.
But being dyslexic, my next options were slightly limited, I would say. So this is when the brilliant idea of content creator popped into my head, with my thought process being, well, if other people can do it, why couldn't that be me? Dyslexic or not, I figured, why not just give it a go.
So I saved up all I could before my final show at Magic Mike, which ended in February 2024.
And I decided to live off my savings as I threw myself into this whole content creator life.
I started travelling slow because, you know, can't afford the diesel, living off really cheap meals, apart from Winnie's food, because obviously she's got very high standards.
And then, just as I was down to my last £500, I kid you not, I released my kitchen build video, and then out of nowhere, especially considering my account before that, it blew up.
Well, for me it did anyway. And 700,000 views later, I got monetized on YouTube. And then I released my tour video, which hit 2.2 million views, which honestly is madness. Suddenly, YouTube was paying me. My actual dream come true.
And on that note, I got a parcel from YouTube today, which I'm going to open up with you. We're going to open it together. You're going to ask how I get parcels, aren't you? I get parcels by giving them my mum's address and then my mum forwarding on to wherever I am, is what I'm doing currently right now. Oh my God, please. I just want to get in. So well stuck down. And I think this is... Ooh. What is it, Winnie? What's in here? Oh, I've got a little letter. So this is a silver plaque, which apparently, I didn't know this, but YouTube give out awards for different stages of your following. So this is 100,000 subscribers, and then I think the next one's at 1 million, and then the next one's at, I don't know, 100 million or something ridiculous. But I got one. Look how sweet this letter is. You pause that, it's very sweet. And then inside the box, I've just taken off the cover, but look. Oh, you're seeing yourself in the mirror. Hey, it's quite a hefty thing. Should I put it up there maybe? Is that a bit weird to put up my YouTube award up in my room? It really doesn't go with my aesthetic. Does it? Winnie, do you like it? But it is good to remember that YouTube, it isn't all smooth sailing. YouTube isn't exactly the most reliable source of income. One time, your video could be doing amazing. I'm stroking Winnie's paw here. She loves this. Look. Sorry, what was I saying? Oh, YouTube's not all smooth sailing. Yeah, so one time your video can be doing amazing. And then the next time you drop a video, then that could just be doing awful.
Like, for example, this video. Potentially, the only person that's going to watch this video is my mum. Hi, Mum. It's a bit of a gamble, I guess. However, for now, I'm just going to ride the wave. And if this doesn't work out, I'll figure something else out. Seasonal work, maybe. Worst case, I can sell the van. But for now, this is it. And honestly, I've got all of you to thank for that. If you've watched, liked, subscribed, or even just stumbled across one of my videos, thank you. You are literally keeping me afloat right now. You are the reason why I can go and buy a food shop or put diesel in my bus. So if you're watching this video, I really appreciate it. Seriously. And so does Winnie.
I don't know if you noticed, but the music choices of that whole story section are hilarious. I've literally been cracking myself up with my own choices of music. Anyway, let's get back to the whole story of the first month of van life, because I've really gone off on a tangent here. But I guess now you kind of know my money situation. Essentially, I'm just winging it, aren't I?
So if Alnwick Castle had you feeling all dreamy and once upon a time, get ready because we're heading further up north to Bamber Castle on Holy Island. Northumberland is just flexing at this point, honestly. Castle overload, but in the best possible way. I actually started binge watching The Last Kingdom while I was here and I can really highly recommend it. It gets you in the mood for this dramatic, slightly eerie coastline.
Destiny is all.
First stop is Holy Island, or Lindisfarne, if you want to get historical about it. This magical island is only accessible during low tide because, yes, the sea likes to claim it back every few hours. It's like nature's version of a VIP section. Miss the tide and you're gonna need a very expensive taxi, aka a boat. Once a thriving Christian centre in medieval England, now Holy Island is all about peace, ruins, and I enjoyed a jolly good walk here. Winnie and I spent the day following footpaths all over this little island. And there are some really lovely beaches here too. Winnie was in her element. Back on the mainland, Bamber Castle has been standing here for 1,400 years. It's sat on top of this enormous volcanic rock, looking all majestic and intimidating. Like it's looking down on you and thinking, "Ha!
You peasant! Where are all the kings and queens gone?"
While I was here, they had a medieval show on, which was bloody brilliant. Though, just a little side note, dogs aren't allowed inside the castle. They can come into the grounds, but if you're a history buff and want to have a good look around, then you're going to be leaving your dog outside, like I had to. Winnie was not impressed. The beach below is beautifully dramatic, which is probably why it's been used in so many films and TV shows. It's the kind of place where you expect to see a knight galloping along the shoreline at any minute. Winnie, of course, is loving the beach life. I think she might have been a mermaid in a past life. It was so nice to be able to pop into the town too, only a short walk away from the epic castle. This whole area has that classic romantic decay vibe. You know, the crumbling castles, the moody beaches, the wild seagulls trying to steal your snacks. It's perfect. Now, fun fact, if you've got a small van, then lucky you, because there's actually parking with this incredible view of Bamber Castle. Picture this, rolling out of bed with that as your morning view. Stunning, right? Me though, not so lucky. My 7 metre long, 2 metre wide, 3 metre high bus isn't quite what you'd call castle friendly. So if you're driving a beast like mine, then sorry, no such luck for us. But don't worry, I did find a really lovely spot just up the coast. It's one of my favourite places actually that I found on that app, tucked away on a beach and right next to the sea. Welcome to my little morning routine by the sea. Every day starts the same. I wake up, let the light in, and by let the light in, I mean awkwardly rolling up my handmade blinds the wrong way. And yes, I have a reason for that. They're blackout and insulated, so one side is all reflective film and the other side is cute fabric. If I rolled them up the right way, you'd get a lovely view of industrial silver. But since I'm all about the aesthetics, I roll them up the wrong way so that then you get the cute fabric on display. I know, I've got my priorities right. And then shoving my cottagecore patchwork window covers that I made under the sofa cushions. Yes, you heard me right, under the sofa cushions. When you live in a tiny space, storage is more of an art form. And turns out, under the sofa cushions is a great place to hide all manner of things. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh look, Winnie sleeps on the floor and you get the whole bed to yourself. How ideal. Yeah, no, that's a lie. In reality, she's a little diva and I'm a complete wimp. So we share a bed. Well, share is a bit of a stretch. She takes over and digs her paws into my back. And I just sort of exist on the edges. But in the interest of keeping this video looking somewhat civilized, she's on the floor today. Now let's just be real for a moment.
We all know that obviously this camera didn't magically switch on just before I woke up. No, I've already been up, I've already had my first morning cup of tea, I've already taken Winnie for a walk down by the beach. So that means that right now, in this moment, Winnie is one smelly wet dog. And wet dog on my sofa and on my bed is a big no from me. Sorry, Winnie, but no. So, bless her, she's being such a good girl. She's actually following orders and she's taking her morning nap on the floor. When I filmed this whole morning shebang situation, it looks like we sleep separately, but we really don't. So, just wanted to fill you in and make sure you got the facts right, because it makes no difference whatsoever, but I just wanted to let you know. Okay, carrying on. So today I thought I'd take you through what is probably a fairly standard day in my whole VanLife life at the moment, which is the editing day. Basically, that means I only leave the bus for the absolute essential basics, like emptying the loo or filling up with water, or in today's case, the most glamorous task of all, walking Winnie. Usually this is a full-on pajama day, like why would I get dressed for the inside of a van? But for the sake of you lovely lot, and because occasionally I do like pretending to be a functioning adult, I'm actually gonna shower, might get dressed. Yes, I know, the sacrifices I make for content. Shower time. Step 1, turn on pumps. Step 2, enter my miniature bathroom. Step 3, down goes my love yourself shower mat, because hey, we all need that reminder when we're standing naked in front of a mirror, right? Step 4, slap on this fabulous shower cap. It's a fine line between looking like a 1940s movie star or a pensioner on her way to bingo. Either way, it's a vibe. After my shower, it's time to get dressed for the day, which mostly involves slipping into what I like to call acceptable pajamas. They may not look much different from my actual pajamas, but let's just pretend they're a step up, okay? Look how arty-farty this camera angle is. I felt like a real movie maker here. Super fancy. Maybe not. Okay. So I'm going to put makeup on. This is a bit of a funny one because realistically, on a normal day today, I wouldn't put any makeup on. But if I was going to go and meet someone, I would put makeup on. It just makes me feel a bit more confident. Oh yeah, look at this. Great. But I know I am just going to be sitting in my bus and not going to meet anyone. But I am technically meeting you guys. If I was genuinely meeting you, I would put makeup on. I do like makeup. Maybe it's the performing arts girl in me, but let's just speed this up, shall we? I mean, you're here for the VanLife content, aren't you? You don't exactly want a makeup tutorial by me. And I'm really not claiming to be any kind of expert, but I have picked up a few interesting techniques over the years. I mean, mainly when I lived and worked at the Moulin Rouge in Paris. There was a time when I had to learn how to do showgirl makeup for my job, which basically means you put your eyeliner not on your eyelash line, but on a diagonal line somewhere near your eyebrows, and then you put your false lashes on top of that diagonal line. It looks like madness close up, but I swear on stage it makes your eyes look bigger and brighter. Works really well. No such theatrics in my makeup today. I'm calling this look, I've got a YouTube video to film, face. Also, you really don't need to hear me chat absolute nonsense for 20 minutes while I try to get this mascara on. So let's just skip the chatter. Just a little bit of makeup. I don't know why I love it. Oh, I love it. Told you. Beans on toast. The quintessential British brunch. Or, more accurately, the ultimate lazy meal. Toss on top some vegan cheese and drown the whole thing in mayo like the true condiment queen I am, and I feel just like a student again. So as you can see, I am balancing my beans on toast on my log burner, because who needs a real table when you have a perfectly fine metal box that can heat your home and double up as furniture? Now, before you judge me, I do have a table, like a real grown-up one. But pulling it out, folding it down, it's a whole ordeal, and I'm really not about that life. I mean, not for beans on toast anyway. Like if I had company, or, if it was a real work vibe going on, then sure. But realistically, the table just stays tucked away.
and the log burner gets promoted to dining room status. Yeah, I know it's lazy. Or is it practical genius? You decide. Van life is just life, really. You can't escape the mundane bits and bobs like washing up, feeding yourself, walking the dog, brushing your teeth, or work. Now, as a complete newbie to van life and to this YouTube business thing, I've been trying to teach myself Premiere Pro while I've been editing my videos. It's been really hard, actually. I know there are some YouTubers out there that can whip up a video once a week and make it look effortless, and I am impressed by them. They are great. But I think for me, a bit like my van build took me longer than most, my editing seems to be taking me longer than most too. So you'll be seeing me around here probably once a month. But if you did want to catch up a bit before then, I do pop onto my Instagram and my TikTok. And as for what's next, well, there's no real ending in van life. It's just more driving, more parking up in random spots, more figuring it out as I go. After this, I actually headed to the Northumberland moors, and that's where I shot my tour video, if you've seen that. And me and Winnie took a rainy day trip to Edinburgh. No, I did not take my van there. I think I would have struggled really badly with parking. Anyway, I'm excited to keep sharing whatever this is with you. And thank you for sticking around and indulging my chaotic little journey. Let's see where we end up.